Girl.
Yeah,
It will become important.
My name is Eileen Klein. I'm the president of the Arizona Board of Regents. People need to understand that they aren't necessarily going to be immune to ideas that offend them. But it doesn't mean that students have to accept that that's the way that they need to think. And that's part of what the university experience is about, is finding your own way, finding your own voice.
I am part of the University of Arizona Dean of Students Initiative around educating on the First Amendment, an initiative called Speak Your Piece, or hashtag Speak Your Piece. There are limitations that the Constitution and the First Amendment offer and legal precedent has set in ways in which there's protected and unprotected speech. So when we look at speech that's not protected, threats are a good example of that. So if I directly threaten to harm someone, threats are not protected.
Preachers do have the opportunity to come on campus and speak freely on the mall and express themselves. I personally have seen a few my freshman and sophomore year here. It bothered me. I didn't want to stand there and listen to that. I didn't want to believe what they were saying was true about my community or my fraternity.
If students or faculty or staff or community members have questions on how to go about holding a rally or a protest, questions about what's protected and unprotected speech, they can call the Dean of Students office. They can look at Speak Your Piece, and that gives guidelines.
Lately, there's been a lot of conversation nationally about campus climate. We strongly believe that we are to help students learn how to think. We're not there to tell them what to think. The point is to make sure that students are exposed to a range of thinking, a diversity of philosophies, and then they are also given the skills, the ability to think critically and to understand the methods of inquiry so that they can come to their own conclusions and be able to think freely on their own.
As I told my fellow senators on Wednesday, I believe this resolution is important, but I believe it's a necessary first step. I believe that we're going to be challenged a lot, not only in this next year, in the next 4 years, and that as students, now we're going to have to play our part and get civically engaged in order to solve these problems.
Well, that's part of that dialogue. I think it's incumbent upon all educators to present minimum 2 points of view about any topic and every topic.
We've had a number of events here, and we have different kinds of events that are open to the public or not open to the public that represent a range of viewpoints.
We talk about this marketplace of ideas, and I think that's how we can come to understand the truth a lot better. From all corners of the world, I think they come to the university, engage in civil dialogue and civil discourse, aligning with the trajectory with our First Amendment rights.
The First Amendment opened up the possibility of people being exposed to many different viewpoints and ideas with this freedom of expression. At a large public institution like this, people from all different backgrounds and walks of life and religions and ethnicities, international students from all over the country come together. It's an exciting time, and a time when they really appreciate the opportunity to think through what it all means and to put it into historical context.
When we went to the military, raised our right hand to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And so that's something we all hold very dear to us, that everyone has and is afforded that opportunity, especially when you start talking about the First Amendment, to express their beliefs and their opinions, even when it's something that may make folks uncomfortable or may not be a popular opinion.
People think that they have the right to not hear opinions that they don't like, and that's going to really damage them in the long run. They want to sit in their safe spaces, they want to create a bubble, but when they get into the real world and start hearing that not everyone agrees with them and start seeing that there is a difference in opinions, they're going to get eaten alive.
I feel like open discussion is always good. You don't have to always agree with somebody, because it is infringing on somebody if you tell them to not speak.
Freedom of speech isn't just speech. It might be writing that you've done. In the era of social media, we often see people making comments that are also protected speech. They have the same protections as a spoken word. It might be a poster or a posting, or it could be something you wear. So all of those would be considered different forms of speech. So it doesn't just have to be something you say in spoken word.
You have social media or avenues that can tailor specific viewpoints to your devices or to the way you read the news. Professors can use lectures or classroom discussions to get multiple perspectives to reach a greater truth or understanding of the issues and to get the underlying facts without the bias, without this background noise that oftentimes surrounds the delivery of news.
As a public institution, the University of Arizona has a responsibility to uphold the right to free speech on campus within the guidelines such as time, place, and manner, and determining, what type of forum we're in. We also look at disruption, though, because part of it is we are an educational institution. We do conduct business. So if there's speech that's disrupting that environment or disrupting another planned activity, then we can do something about that. Most of our space on campus falls into what's called a designated public forum. So it's a space that we open and we say, this is a space for expressive speech to happen on campus. Those places are things like the University of Arizona Mall, Highland Bowl that's in between some of our residence halls, the volleyball court and open area by Park Student Union. There are multiple places outdoors on campus that are considered designated public forums.
I believe if you inhibit the right of free speech, it's not a slippery slope, it's a cliff that you don't want to go down.
The freedom of speech, and everybody should have their own voice and their own opinions. Though people might not agree on certain topics, it's definitely your opinion, it's what you believe in.